You're not going to believe this. But there is one thing, just one, that when you mix it into how you show up, the people you once thought were out of your league suddenly start competing for your attention. And no, it's not money, beauty, or pretending you're someone you're not. It's something far rarer, so rare that the people you admire spend fortunes trying to buy the feeling it gives them. And they can't. What you add is this, self-respect that you actually act on. Most people say they have standards. Most people say they know their worth. But watch their behavior. They negotiate their value the moment someone shiny walks into the room. When you walk in carrying self-respect like it's your signature scent, when your tone says, "I don't need you, but I'm curious about you," when you stop chasing approval and start chasing alignment, suddenly the investors, the CEOs, the charismatic personalities, the rich people, they lean in, because what's rare becomes irresistible. And self-respect is the rarest commodity on earth. People with money try to buy everything, but they can't buy someone who's already whole. When I say your cream is the way you present yourself to the world, I'm talking about something far deeper than posture, clothes, or the curated version of you that shows up on social media. Presentation begins long before anyone sees you. It starts in how you think about yourself, the tone you use when you speak to yourself, and the standards you quietly enforce in your daily life. Most people imagine presence as a performance, but real presence is the invisible trail of choices you make when no one is watching. It's the way you treat your time, the people you allow close, the habits you tolerate, and the boundaries you enforce even when it's uncomfortable. That inner structure radiates outward, shaping how others interpret you before you say a word. People read your presentation through microsignals, the pause before you answer a question, the way you hold eye contact without shrinking, the tone you use when someone tests a boundary, whether you rush to fill silences or let the other person earn more of the conversation. These tiny behaviors communicate more truthfully than any polished exterior. Someone with money or status has spent years refining their ability to read people. They've met performers, charmers, takers, pretenders. They subconsciously scan you for authenticity, alignment, and self-belief. When your internal world is chaotic, inconsistent, or dependent on external validation, it leaks out in ways you can't hide. But when you've done the internal work, people feel it immediately, even if they can't articulate why. Presentation also includes the energy you bring into a space. Not the loud, forced kind of energy that tries to prove something, but the grounded, relaxed presence that comes from not needing anything from anyone. It's the difference between walking into a room wondering if people will accept you and walking in already knowing you accept yourself. That feeling cannot be faked. It shows up in your breathing, your pace, the natural rhythm of your voice. It's the attitude of someone who sees themselves as an equal, not an auditioning candidate. High-value individuals gravitate toward people who anchor a room rather than react to it, because stability is rare and deeply attractive. Your self-presentation is also shaped by what you no longer tolerate. When you stop over-explaining yourself, people assume you have nothing to justify. When you stop apologizing for taking up space, people assume you are supposed to be there. When you stop chasing the attention of people who are indifferent, people assume your world already contains those who appreciate you. The less you overcompensate, the more others assign value to you. It's not arrogance, it's quiet certainty. Many individuals with power or wealth spend their lives surrounded by people who want something from them. They instantly notice the rare person whose presence isn't transactional. Your refusal to bend yourself into shapes to be accepted communicates that you are operating from abundance, not scarcity. Your presentation is influenced by your relationship with your own needs. If you suppress them, hide them, or treat them like inconveniences, others follow suit. If you honor them, calmly communicate them, and hold steady when they are tested, others rise to meet them. People of high status respect those who respect themselves because it signals emotional maturity. They can't buy that. Money can purchase access, attention, admiration, but it cannot purchase authenticity or self-trust. When you broadcast that energy, you mirror something they often crave but lack: someone who is whole without external reinforcement. The way you present yourself is less about impressing and more about revealing what you already know to be true about your worth. It's the internal ingredient that transforms how you move, speak, choose, and respond. It's the subtle but unmistakable message that you are not trying to earn a place at anyone's table, because you already know the value of the seat you bring wherever you go. When I say the ingredient is self-respect, I'm not talking about the kind you post about online or the bold statements people make when they're feeling temporarily confident. Real self-respect is revealed in the smallest, quietest moments, the ones you often assume don't matter. It shows up in how you handle your emotions, the choices you make when you're tired, the behavior you allow from others, and the promises you keep to yourself. You can decorate your life with achievements, beauty, or charm, but without self-respect, the foundation crumbles the moment someone with strong energy enters your world. People feel it instantly, even if they don't know what they're sensing. Self-respect begins with internal honesty. It's the ability to look at your patterns without flinching, to see where you've abandoned yourself for attention, validation, or the fear of being alone. Most people know when they're doing this, but they silence that inner voice because the alternative, losing someone, confronting a truth, or stepping into uncertainty, feels too uncomfortable. Yet every time you override your instincts, you train yourself to believe your needs are optional. You weaken the signal you send to the world, and people pick up on that weakening. They can't always name it, but they feel the subtle insecurity hiding behind your politeness or your adaptability. Self-respect is demonstrated through decisions, not declarations. It's choosing not to text someone who consistently ignores your boundaries, even though the temporary hit of attention would soothe your ego. It's walking away from conversations that turn disrespectful instead of trying to win the other person back onto your side. It's declining an opportunity that doesn't align with your values, even when it looks impressive from the outside. These are the moments that sculpt how you carry yourself, because they teach your nervous system that you are capable of self-protection. When you consistently choose your own dignity over immediate gratification, you build a quiet, unshakable strength. People of high status are sensitive to these cues because they live in a world where many interactions are transactional. They're used to others bending, performing, chasing, and accommodating. When someone with genuine self-respect enters their space, it surprises them. You suddenly stand out without trying. You're not intimidated by their lifestyle or credentials because you're grounded in your own values. You don't oversell yourself or try to convince them of your worth because you already feel it internally. That contrast is magnetic to them precisely because it is rare. Self-respect signals that you cannot be bought, swayed, or dazzled by external markers of importance, and that alone makes you more interesting. Self-respect is also about emotional restraint, not suppressing feelings, but understanding when to share them and when to let silence carry the message. It's choosing calm over chaos. It's knowing that anger can be felt without being performed, that hurt can be acknowledged without turning into a plea, and that desire can be expressed without desperation. The way you manage your emotional space tells others how to treat it. People are naturally drawn to someone who is centered, not because they seem stoic, but because they seem trustworthy. High-value individuals appreciate emotional clarity because it reduces the guesswork. When you respect yourself, you communicate needs and boundaries cleanly, and that creates safety. Another part of self-respect is discernment. It's knowing what you're willing to invest in and what you're not. It's paying attention to whether someone's actions match their words. It's refusing to confuse potential with reality. When you operate from discernment, you stop placing people on pedestals. You see everyone as human, including the wealthy or accomplished. This makes your presence feel balanced, not starstruck. And balance is compelling. It suggests that you're operating from choice, not desperation. Ultimately, self-respect becomes visible not through grand gestures, but through the consistent, subtle alignment between your standards and your actions. It influences the tone of your voice, the look in your eyes, the way you exit a situation that no longer serves you, and the energy you hold when someone tries to test your boundaries. It is the ingredient that changes how others perceive you without you having to demand anything. When I say scarcity makes you magnetic, I'm not talking about playing hard to get or manipulating people with distance. I'm talking about the natural magnetism that appears when you stop overextending yourself emotionally and energetically. Most people exhaust themselves trying to be understood, accepted, or chosen. They over-explain their intentions, overgive their time, and over-chase relationships that aren't meeting them halfway. This kind of over-availability signals to others that your time and presence aren't valuable, even if you believe they are. When you stop doing that, you create a form of emotional scarcity, not because you're withholding, but because you're no longer leaking energy into places that haven't earned it. Scarcity in this sense is about intentionality. It's choosing where you invest your time instead of pouring it everywhere in the hope that someone will appreciate it. High-value individuals immediately recognize when someone has standards for their availability. They can tell when you are comfortable with space, comfortable with silence, and comfortable not being the center of attention in every room. That comfort is rare. Many people feel anxious in silence, rushing to fill it to prove their worth or maintain interest. But silence is powerful. It conveys confidence, a steady presence, and the sense that you are not performing. When you allow pauses, people lean in. When you don't try to fill every moment with your voice or validation, others become curious about you. Curiosity is the spark of attraction. Scarcity also appears when you stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. Over-explaining is a sign of insecurity. It's the fear that unless you justify your feelings or decisions, someone will think less of you. But the people who truly value you don't require dissertations to understand your intentions. They pick up on your tone, your consistency, and your integrity. When you stop over-explaining, you stand firmer in your identity. You communicate that your boundaries are not debates, and your choices are not up for negotiation. That quiet certainty creates a gravitational pull because it shows you are anchored. People with status or influence often encounter individuals who bend their rules just to stay in their orbit. When you don't do that, you become memorable. Scarcity becomes even more compelling when paired with selective generosity. When you give your attention or affection deliberately rather than indiscriminately, the impact is deeper. People notice that your compliments aren't generic, your presence isn't automatic, and your attention is not guaranteed. This makes your energy valuable because it's clearly tied to discernment. And discernment is attractive because it suggests that you know your worth and you don't distribute it carelessly. High-value individuals respect those who can say no without fear. Every time you decline something that doesn't align with your standards, you reinforce the idea that your time matters. That sense of value is felt before it's articulated. Another aspect of scarcity is emotional pacing. People often reveal too much too soon, hoping vulnerability will create closeness. But vulnerability without pacing can overwhelm or dilute your mystery. When you share your inner world gradually, not as a flood, but as a rhythm, others feel invited rather than burdened. The slow unfolding of who you are creates intrigue. It gives people space to earn deeper access to you. When someone senses they must rise to meet your emotional depth rather than being handed it immediately, the investment becomes mutual instead of one-sided. Scarcity is not about pretending to be unavailable. It's about living a life that is genuinely full of your goals, your routines, your relationships, your passions. When your world is rich and self-sustaining, you don't cling to anyone. You don't rearrange your entire schedule for someone you barely know. You don't sacrifice your priorities to maintain someone's interest. You invite people in without depending on them. That independence is magnetic because it communicates that you choose connections out of desire, not fear. When people sense that your presence is a privilege rather than a default, they step up, lean in, and begin to value you at the level you value yourself. When I say that people of high status seek what is emotionally rare, I'm pointing to a truth most people overlook. Individuals who have access to wealth, influence, or opportunity can buy almost anything: comfort, convenience, luxury, admiration, and even superficial attention. What they cannot buy, and what they often struggle to find, is emotional nourishment that feels genuine. When you've risen to a level where most interactions have a hidden agenda or come from people hoping to gain something, authenticity becomes a luxury. The rarer something is, the more valuable it feels. So when a person who has everything encounters someone who provides an emotional experience they can't manufacture or purchase, they notice it immediately. Emotionally rare qualities aren't loud or flashy. They show up in the tone of your voice when you ask a sincere question, in your ability to be present without performing, in the steadiness you bring to moments where others would try too hard. Many people shift into a version of themselves they hope will impress someone they look up to. They exaggerate their accomplishments, laugh too loudly, agree too quickly, or mirror whatever they think the other person wants. But that eagerness is common, and anything common loses its value. High-status individuals have witnessed this behavior their entire lives. It becomes predictable, and predictable becomes invisible. When you don't shift into performance mode, when you remain grounded instead of reactive, you become a breath of fresh air. Emotional rarity also appears in the ability to hold your own identity without shrinking or inflating it. People who have achieved success are surrounded by individuals who treat them as larger than life. Some put them on pedestals, others compete with them. Both reactions distort genuine connection, but when you respond to them as equals, neither impressed to the point of losing yourself, nor threatened to the point of defensiveness, you create balanced gravity. You show them that they are free to be human around you, not an image they must maintain. That sense of emotional ease is profoundly rare for someone accustomed to being either idolized or used. One of the rarest emotional qualities is sincerity without agenda. Many people compliment with the hope of receiving something in return. They show kindness only when it benefits them. High-value individuals are adept at feeling the difference between sincerity and strategy. When you're kind because kindness is your nature, when you're warm without being needy, when you're generous without expectation, people sense it. It feels safe, it feels clean, and because it's rare, it becomes memorable. Another emotionally rare quality is presence, the ability to really listen, not just wait for your turn to speak. In a world where most conversations are competing monologues, truly being present is almost shocking. When someone feels genuinely heard, they naturally gravitate toward you. People with influence are often surrounded by noise, opinions, demands, questions, flattery. When you listen with intention instead of noise, you give them a moment of stillness in a world that constantly pulls them in every direction. Emotional rarity also includes grace under pressure. People who hold significant roles deal with conflict, expectations, and scrutiny regularly. They value those who can stay composed without becoming cold, who can navigate tension without escalating it, who can communicate clearly even when emotions rise. When you embody that calm strength, you offer something stabilizing, something that makes other people feel secure rather than chaotic. Stability is rare because it requires self-control, emotional literacy, and a strong internal core. Equally important is your ability to maintain boundaries without aggression. Many people swing between extremes, either overly accommodating or rigidly defensive. Emotional rarity lies in calm, confident boundaries, saying no without guilt, expressing needs without apology, and stepping back when behavior doesn't align with your standards. High-status individuals respect this because it shows you understand your worth. You're not intimidated by theirs. Ultimately, people seek what they cannot easily find. When your emotional energy carries authenticity, presence, stability, discernment, and calm confidence, you become rare in a way that transcends wealth or status. You're not valuable because you're trying to be. You're valuable because you embody qualities that even the most successful people struggle to find in their own world. If you're ready to stop being impressed by people and start being inspiring to them, stick around, because I'm about to give you the exact habits that make high-value people see you and say, "Tell me how I can be part of your world." When I say silent confidence communicates more than flashy displays, I'm pointing to the idea that the strongest signals you send are often the ones you're not consciously performing. Loud confidence tries to persuade others of your worth. Silent confidence already knows it. People can tell the difference immediately. Flashy displays often come from insecurity, a need to be seen, a desire to prove something, or a fear of being overlooked. Silent confidence, on the other hand, comes from an inner steadiness that doesn't depend on validation. It's the way you walk into a room without needing to announce yourself, the way you speak without rushing, the way you hold your posture without stiffness. You don't chase attention, but attention finds you because your energy feels grounded. Silent confidence shows itself through restraint. When you're truly confident, you don't need to fill every silence with explanations or anecdotes. You don't need to add layers of justification to your decisions. You don't feel compelled to list your accomplishments. You let others discover who you are at their own pace. That measured approach is far more compelling than forcing people to see your value. People gravitate toward those who aren't constantly broadcasting their strengths because it suggests your strengths are so real you don't fear they'll be overlooked. People with wealth or influence encounter a lot of performative confidence. People who brag, posture, exaggerate, and try to prove their significance. That repetition dulls the impact. When someone walks in with nothing to prove, it disrupts the pattern. Silent confidence tells a high-value person that you don't view them as a prize, but as a peer. You're not competing, you're not performing, you're simply existing with self-trust. That energy is disarming. It puts you on equal footing without you saying a word. Another element of silent confidence is the ability to stay composed in moments where others become reactive. When someone challenges you, teases you, or tests your boundaries, your reaction reveals everything about your internal world. Flashy confidence reacts quickly, often defensively, rushing to maintain an image. Silent confidence remains calm because your identity isn't threatened. That calmness sends a powerful message. You're in control of your emotions. This is rare and attractive because it suggests not only confidence, but also emotional intelligence. Silent confidence reveals itself in your choices. Instead of loudly announcing your standards, you embody them. You walk away from situations that don't respect you. You choose people who choose you. You decline invitations that don't align with your goals. You protect your time. These actions speak louder than declaring you have high standards. When someone sees that your choices reflect self-respect, they naturally assume there is depth behind your quiet demeanor. This creates intrigue. People want to know the story behind your poise. There is also a magnetic quality to subtlety. Flashy behavior tells people everything up front, leaving little mystery. Silent confidence leaves room for curiosity. You don't reveal everything right away, not because you're hiding, but because you're selective. People sense that you have layers, and that those layers are earned, not handed out. Mystery isn't created by withholding. It's created by having a full inner life that doesn't rely on external performance. High-value individuals respect those who bring intrigue through authenticity, not theatrics. Your body language plays a significant role. Silent confidence shows in steady eye contact, relaxed shoulders, intentional movements, and a calm pace. You're not hurried, and you're not seeking approval with your expressions. You listen fully, speak only when you have something meaningful to add, and you're comfortable letting others shine. This signals emotional maturity. Flashy displays often compete for the spotlight. Silent confidence allows space for others because it isn't threatened. Silent confidence also appears in how you handle praise and criticism. When someone compliments you, you accept it without shrinking or exaggerating. When someone criticizes you, you don't crumble or retaliate. Your sense of self isn't tied to external opinions. That stability is deeply attractive, especially to people who live in environments where opinions constantly shift. You become a grounding presence. What makes silent confidence so compelling is that it cannot be faked for long. Anyone can flash wealth, status symbols, or achievements. But silent confidence requires inner work, self-awareness, emotional discipline, and a stable sense of worth. People feel when this is real. It creates a ripple effect in any room you enter. You don't need to announce what you bring. The way you carry yourself communicates it long before you speak. When I say high-value people admire clarity and boundaries, I'm pointing to something deeper than just saying no or stating your preferences. Clarity is the ability to communicate your needs, expectations, and emotional truth without hesitation or performance. Boundaries are the framework that protects that clarity. Most people think boundaries are walls, but they're actually filters. They let the right things in while keeping the wrong things out. Individuals who operate at a high level, emotionally, professionally, or socially, are magnetically drawn to people who know how to protect their inner world with precision. It signals maturity, self-awareness, and a strong sense of identity. Clarity starts with knowing who you are and what you want. Many people avoid clarity because it holds them accountable. If you say you want respect, consistency, or emotional safety, then you must behave in ways that align with those values. High-value people notice when your words match your actions. They pay attention to whether you communicate honestly or twist yourself to be liked. Clarity means you don't send mixed signals. You don't pretend you're okay when you're not. You don't say maybe when the real answer is I'm not interested. This straightforwardness is incredibly refreshing to someone who spends most of their life decoding hidden motives or navigating unclear intentions from others. Boundaries support that clarity. They show where your limits are and what you will not negotiate. People who lack boundaries tend to overextend themselves, forgive too quickly, and accept less than they deserve. They hope that being overly flexible will make them more lovable or more chosen, but it has the opposite effect. When you bend your boundaries for someone, you send the message that your time, energy, and self-respect are up for negotiation. High-value individuals don't admire that. They admire people who stand firm because firmness signals inner stability. It tells them you're not operating from fear or desperation. High-status people especially are surrounded by individuals who try to impress them by being endlessly available or agreeable. That behavior doesn't inspire respect, it inspires convenience. Boundaries create a clear line between you and the crowd. They show that you are selective, not because you are arrogant, but because you have a vision for your life. When you decline an invitation that doesn't align with your priorities, you communicate that you're living your life intentionally. When you ask for what you need without apologizing, you communicate that you believe your needs matter. When you calmly walk away from disrespect, you communicate that your dignity is non-negotiable. Clarity also comes through emotional expression. High-value people appreciate those who can express feelings directly rather than through drama, hints, or emotional withdrawal. When you say, "This didn't sit right with me," or "I need more consistency," without attacking or blaming, you show emotional intelligence. You show that you can handle conflict without chaos. This kind of grounded communication is rare. It creates trust. Someone who respects themselves enough to set clear boundaries is usually someone who can handle deeper, more meaningful connections. Boundaries don't need to be loud to be effective. In fact, the strongest boundaries are often delivered quietly. You simply stop engaging in behavior that drains you. You stop responding to people who consistently disrespect your time. You stop giving chances to patterns instead of people. You stop explaining yourself to those who are unwilling to understand. These quiet acts reveal your self-worth in a way that words alone never could. High-value people understand and admire these choices because they live by similar internal standards. They've learned, often through experience, that protecting one's peace is essential for growth and success. Another aspect of clarity and boundaries is consistency. Anyone can set a boundary once, but maintaining it, especially when emotions get involved, is what reveals true self-respect. High-value individuals pay attention to this. They watch whether your actions shift when you want someone's approval or when you fear losing them. If your boundaries evaporate under pressure, your clarity loses weight. But when you remain steady, you show that your values are not situational. Ultimately, clarity and boundaries create an energy of stability around you. People feel safe with someone who knows themselves. They feel respect for someone who won't betray their own standards just to be chosen. And they feel drawn to someone whose life has structure, direction, and emotional integrity. When I say that when you stop trying to be chosen, you become the chooser, I'm pointing to a shift in inner posture that changes everything about how people perceive and respond to you. Most people move through life hoping to be picked. They adapt their personality to the room, adjust their preferences to fit someone else's vision, mute their opinions to avoid rejection, and mold themselves into whatever they think will gain approval. This need to be chosen is deeply human, but it carries a subtle desperation that others can feel. It sends the message that your worth depends on external validation. And when someone senses that you're seeking their approval, they instinctively place themselves in the position of evaluator, the one with power. When you stop operating from this need, you shift the dynamic entirely. Becoming the chooser doesn't mean becoming cold, distant, or uninterested. It means you step into a mindset where you evaluate whether someone aligns with your values, your desires, and your vision for your life. You're no longer auditioning. You're no longer waiting to be invited. You're observing, discerning, and deciding. This shift is subtle but transformative. When you carry yourself like someone who knows they have something meaningful to offer, you generate a sense of value around your presence. People feel it before you articulate it. Suddenly, interactions feel balanced instead of lopsided. You're not impressed by titles or beauty or status. You're looking for someone who fits into a life you're already building. Not trying to be chosen also changes the energy you bring into conversations. When you're trying to earn approval, you monitor every reaction. You overthink your responses. You put pressure on yourself to be funny, interesting, smart, or charming. That pressure makes you stiff. It creates tension and removes authenticity. But when you're not trying to be impressive, you naturally become more engaging. You listen more deeply, you speak more honestly, and you show up more fully. Ironically, people find you more attractive when you're not trying to be. Authenticity has its own charisma. This shift also affects how you handle attention. People who want to be chosen cling to any scrap of interest. They read into crumbs. They adjust their schedule for someone they barely know. They prioritize the possibility of connection over their own plans. But when you step into the chooser mindset, you no longer chase attention. You evaluate it. You look at whether someone's effort matches their words. You look at whether they show consistency. You look at whether they enhance your life or drain it. This creates a powerful pull because people can sense when your interest is selective rather than indiscriminate. Selectivity makes attention feel valuable. The chooser mindset also influences your emotional reactions. When you're seeking approval, rejection feels catastrophic because it feels like a reflection of your worth. But when you see yourself as the chooser, rejection becomes information, not identity. If someone pulls away, behaves inconsistently, or doesn't reciprocate your energy, you see it as clarity. You don't chase. You don't negotiate your value. You don't try to convince someone to see your worth. That calm response communicates a rare level of self-possession. And when people sense you're not easily swayed or emotionally dependent, they lean in because your stability stands out. Another powerful effect is the impact on your boundaries. People who want to be chosen often tolerate situations that don't feel right. They overgive, accept excuses, and bend their standards because they're afraid of losing a connection. But when you see yourself as the chooser, your boundaries strengthen naturally. You say no without guilt. You walk away from disrespect without dramatics. You protect your peace without apology. This signals emotional strength. High-value individuals are drawn to people who can maintain boundaries because it shows emotional discipline and self-respect. Most importantly, becoming the chooser means you fill your life with things that matter to you. Your goals, passions, routines, friendships, growth. You become someone whose world doesn't revolve around being liked. You create a life that others want to be part of, not because you're trying to convince them, but because you're genuinely fulfilled. This fulfillment radiates. People can sense when someone loves their own life, and when they do, they start to feel that choosing you would be a privilege, not a charity. When I say your presence becomes more powerful when you're willing to walk away, I'm describing the unmistakable shift that happens when your self-worth is no longer tethered to any particular outcome, person, or opportunity. Most people stay in situations longer than they should, conversations that drain them, relationships that shrink them, environments that don't honor them, because they fear that leaving means losing something. That fear dilutes their power. It makes them tolerate behavior they dislike, silence needs they should express, and cling to dynamics that clearly don't match their value. The willingness to walk away removes that fear. It puts you in a position where you are guided by alignment, not attachment. Walking away isn't about being dismissive or disinterested. It's about having the internal clarity to recognize when something no longer serves your peace, your integrity, or your growth. When you have that clarity, your presence carries a different weight. People intuitively sense when you're in a situation because you want to be, not because you're trapped by fear or dependency. That freedom gives your interactions a grounded confidence. You don't overreact to disappointment because you know everything is a choice. You don't perform for acceptance because you're not afraid of losing it. You don't cling to attention because your identity isn't built on being validated. This form of independence is powerful because it is rare. People respect what they can't control. When you communicate through your behavior, not your words, that you won't stay anywhere that diminishes you, you create an atmosphere where others treat you with more thoughtfulness and consideration, not because you demand it, but because they understand that your presence is voluntary. Individuals who are willing to walk away from what's comfortable in order to protect what's essential radiate a strength that can't be faked. It's a strength that high-value people recognize instantly because it mirrors the strength required to achieve and maintain their own success. Willingness to walk away also changes how you express yourself. People who fear losing someone often speak cautiously, choosing words that avoid conflict rather than reveal truth. But when you are unattached to outcomes, you speak honestly. You express boundaries clearly and calmly. You voice your standards without wavering. You don't twist your needs to fit someone else's expectations. This kind of communication creates respect. Others feel the steadiness behind your words. They understand that you're not manipulating, pleading, or trying to win approval. You're simply representing yourself with clarity, and that level of self-representation is compelling. Another element of walking away is emotional regulation. When you know you can leave, you don't feel the need to overpower, persuade, or prove anything. You're less reactive, you're less defensive. You don't escalate situations because you know your peace is always available to you, even if it means choosing solitude instead of chaos. This emotional steadiness becomes its own kind of magnetism. People gravitate toward those who stay calm under pressure because it provides a sense of stability that many lack internally. Someone who isn't afraid to let go holds themselves with a kind of graceful detachment that signals emotional maturity. Willingness to walk away also shapes how others invest in you. When people know they can treat you poorly without consequences, they often lower their effort. But when they see that you won't remain in dynamics that diminish your worth, they rise. They become more consistent, more respectful, more thoughtful, because they understand that connection with you must be maintained through mutual effort. Your willingness to step back inspires others to step up. This mindset also expands your world. When you're not clinging to one path, one person, or one outcome, you're more open to possibilities that genuinely align with who you are. You move with greater curiosity and less desperation. People feel this openness. They sense that you're guided by inner vision rather than fear of loss. You become someone who chooses, not someone who waits to be chosen. This autonomy gives your presence depth and gravity. It makes people engage with you more intentionally because they understand they're interacting with someone who lives by choice, not by need. When you put these ingredients into your cream, the way you show up, think, choose, and carry yourself, you stop moving through the world hoping to be noticed and start moving as someone who naturally commands attention. Not because you're louder, richer, or more impressive, but because your energy becomes unmistakably rare. You show up with self-respect instead of insecurity, discernment instead of desperation, calm confidence instead of performance. And that shift changes the way every high-value person interacts with you. They listen more closely. They invest more effort. They rise to meet you instead of expecting you to shrink for them. Your power has never been in trying to get anyone to choose you. It's in becoming someone who chooses with clarity, grace, and certainty. When you bring that version of yourself into the world, carrying emotional rarity, boundaries, self-respect, and the willingness to walk away, you stop chasing connections and start attracting them. And the people who once felt out of reach suddenly find themselves trying to earn a place in the life of someone who finally recognizes their own value.